Hey everybody, this is Jeff Adams from the Icebox Radio Theater. This is Halloween Radio. What is Halloween Radio, you might ask? Well, I decided it would be fun to come on and have a lot of technical problems before getting started. Thank you so much for putting up with it. If you saw the initial post on Facebook or Twitter and are wondering, what is this thing? Well, this thing was a completely spontaneous seriously, I had just thought of this like an hour ago. You know what I should do for Halloween? I should really come on and just talk about some of the most important shows in my personal history and also in the history of radio drama. Maybe play a little bit of them as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hope to give you a little bit of the scene here. I'm on my front porch in International Falls, Minnesota. It's been unseasonably warm. 60 degrees was the high today. The leaves, however, are falling everywhere. It's actually my favorite sounding fall that I've come across in quite a while, because the ground is very dry. There's a lot of dry pavement, and there's a lot of dry leaves, so they're blowing everywhere. It's a very, very, very nice Halloween Eve here in. That's redundant, isn't it? Halloween actually means Eve. Here in International Falls, as I was mentioning earlier, the wind has subsided a bit, and it's just really, really pleasant. Okay, this is The Hitchhiker by Lucille Fletcher and starring Orson Welles. We're going to listen to a snippet here. And it was important because at some point in my adult life, already was married, already was living in Washington State, I believe living in Auburn, Washington, because I distinctly remember my basement office there, and getting this tape from the library that was like collections of a great radio drama, and they had the first half of this story, which, if you've ever heard The Hitchhiker, that is just unreal. Let's listen to the intro.
Back with old friends like Johnny Dietz, who's tonight's director, and
I love Johnny Dietz.
Bernard Herrmann. The Mercury Theater presented tonight's radio play for the first time last year. We came right out then and hailed it as a classic of the medium. Nobody argued the point. A lot of people asked us to do it again, so it's gratifying to get the chance now and to find a favorite of ours in this distinguished anthology of spook shows.
Now, I'll tell you what, I have listened to The Hitchhiker probably 100 times in my life. I've yet to find the original broadcast he was referring to, and I would love to, because it must have been something else. This rebroadcast is certainly something else. I'll let Orson go on with his...
Personally, I've never met anybody who didn't like a good ghost story.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I know a lot of people who think there are a lot of people who don't like a good ghost story. For the benefit of these, at least, I go on record at the outset of this evening's entertainment with the sober assurance that although blood may be curdled on this program, none will be spilt. There's no shooting, knifing, throttling, axing, or poisoning here. No clanking chains, no cobwebs, no bony and or hairy hands appearing from secret panels, or better yet, bedroom curtains. If it's any part of that dear old phosphorescent foolishness that people who don't like ghost stories don't like, then again, I promise you, we haven't got it. Not tonight. What we do have is a thriller.
I love that little aside at the end. Not tonight. Suspense is definitely going to have all of that at some point. Just not tonight.
A real Orson Welles story. Now, frankly, I don't know what this means.
Oh, yes, you do.
I've been on the air directing and acting in my own shows for quite a while now, and I don't suppose I've done more than half a dozen thrillers in all that time.
That seems wrong, too.
Honestly, I don't think even that many, but it seems I do have a reputation for the uncanny. Quite possibly a little escapade of mine involving a couple of planets, which shall be nameless.
That's War of the Worlds.
Responsible. Doesn't
in
really
case
matter.
You missed it, that was War of the
I
Worlds.
don't think I disapprove of thrillers. I don't. A story doesn't have to appeal to the heart. It can also appeal to the spine. Sometimes you want your heart to be warmed, and sometimes you want your spine to tingle. The tingling, it's to be hoped, will be quite audible as you listen tonight to The Hitchhiker. That's the name of our story, The Hitchhiker.
I'm going to go... Yeah, there we go. I'm going to go away and let you guys listen. I'll be back in a few minutes.
I'm in an auto camp on Route 66, just west of Gallup, New Mexico. If I tell it, perhaps it'll help me. Keep me from going crazy. I've got to tell this quickly. I'm not crazy now. I feel perfectly well, except that I'm running a slight temperature. My name is Ronald Adams. I'm 36 years of age, unmarried, tall, dark, with a black mustache. I drive a 1940 Buick, license number 6Y175189. I was born in Brooklyn. All this I know. I know that I'm at this moment perfectly sane. That it's not me who's gone mad. It's something else. Something utterly beyond my control. I've got to speak quickly. At any minute, the link may break. This may be the last thing I ever tell on Earth. The last night I ever see the stars. 6 days ago, I left Brooklyn to drive to California.
Goodbye, son. Good luck to you, my boy.
Goodbye, Mother. Here, give me a kiss, and I'll go.
I'll come out with you to the car.
Oh, no, it's raining. Stay here at the door. Hey, what's this? Tears? I thought you'd promised me you wouldn't cry.
Oh, I know, dear. I'm sorry. But I do hate to see you go.
I'll be back. It'll only be on the coast 3 months.
Oh, it isn't that. It's just the trip. Ronald, I wish you weren't driving.
Oh, Mother, there you go again. People do it every day.
I know, but you'll be careful, won't you? Promise me you'll be extra careful. Don't fall asleep or drive fast or pick up any strangers on the road.
Oh, gosh. I think I was still 17 here, you told me.
Oh. And why? I mean, as soon as you get to Hollywood, won't you, son?
Of course I will. Don't you worry. There's nothing going to happen. It's just 8 days of perfectly simple driving on smooth, decent, civilized roads with a hot dog or a hamburger stand every 10 miles. I was in fine spirits. The drive ahead of me, even the loneliness, seemed like a lark. I reckoned without him. Crossing Brooklyn Bridge that morning in the rain, I saw a man leaning against the cables. He seemed to be waiting for a lift. There were spots of fresh rain on his shoulders. He was carrying a cheap overnight bag in one hand. He was thin, nondescript, with a cap pulled down over his eyes. I would have forgotten him completely, except that just an hour later, while crossing the Pulaski Skyway over the Jersey Flats, I saw him again. At least, he looked like the same person. He was standing now with one thumb pointing west. I couldn't figure out how he got there, but I thought probably one of those fast trucks had picked him up, beaten me to the Skyway, and let him off. I didn't stop for him. Then late that night, I saw him again. It's on the new Pennsylvania Turnpike between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. It's 265 miles long with a very high speed limit. I was just slowing down for one of the tunnels when I saw him, standing under an arc light by the side of the road. I'd seen quite distinctly the bag, the cap, even the spots of fresh rain scattered over his shoulders. He hallooed at me this time. Hello! Hello! I stepped on the gas like a shot. It's lonely country through the Alleghenies, and I had no intention of stopping. Besides, the coincidences, or whatever it was, gave me the willies. I stopped at the next gas station.
Yes, sir.
Fill her up.
Certainly, sir. Check your oil, sir?
No, thanks.
Nice night, isn't it?
Yes. It hasn't been raining here recently, has it?
Not a drop of rain all the way.
Oh? I suppose that doesn't done your business any harm.
Oh, people drive through here all kinds of weather. Mostly business, you know. There aren't many pleasure cars out on the turnpike this season of the year.
I suppose not. What about hitchhikers?
Hitchhikers here?
What's the matter? Don't you ever see any?
Not much. If we did, it'd be a sight for sore eyes.
Why?
Oh, guy'd be a fool who started out to hitch rides on this road. Look at it.
Then You've never seen anybody?
No. Maybe they get the lift before the turnpike starts. I mean, just before the toll house. But then it'd be a mighty long ride. Most cars wouldn't want to pick up a guy for that long a ride. And this is pretty lonesome country here. Mountains and woods. You ain't seen anybody like that, have you?
No. Oh, no, not at all. I was just a technical question.
I see. Well, that'll be just $1.49 with the tax.
The thing gradually passed through my mind as sheer coincidence. I had a good night's sleep in Pittsburgh. I didn't think about the man all next day until just outside of Zanesville, Ohio, I saw him again. It's a bright, sunshiny afternoon. The peaceful Ohio fields, brown with the autumn stubble, lay dreaming in the golden light. I was driving slowly, drinking it in, when the road suddenly ended in a detour. In front of the barrier, he was standing. Now, let me explain about his appearance before I go on. I repeat, there was nothing sinister about him. He was as drab as a mud fence. Nor was his attitude menacing. He merely stood there, waiting, almost drooping a little, a cheap overnight bag in his hand. He looked as though he'd been waiting there for hours. Then he looked up. He hailed me. He started to walk forward.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
No, not just now, sorry.
Going to California?
No, not today. The other way, going to New York, sorry. After I got the car back on the road again, I felt like a fool. Yet the thought of picking him up, of having him sit beside...
Sorry, I meant that to be a fade. That is Orson Welles with Lucille Fletcher's immortal script entitled The Hitchhiker. And I'm cutting that off right about where I got cut off the first time I listened to it way back in the day. And that is just a fantastic show. Well, I'm going to jump right into the next show because looking down, I do see a group of trick-or-treaters coming. They're hitting the house next door, and hopefully they'll hit us pretty soon. This I'm going to switch to an Icebox Radio Theater show, if you don't mind. Just doing some Halloween radio drama today, and I'm going to dive right into now The Diary, starring... There she is, Ayla McIntosh, ladies and gentlemen. Here come the trick-or-treaters.
Going through the things of a loved one who has died. You always hear stories of relatives fighting over treasures or property or money, but it's never like that, not in real life. In real life, it's just painful. I'm driving north from Princeton, Minnesota to go through the things of my aunt who has died. Mavis, her name was. I was her favorite. I'd come to visit her every summer for a week or two when I was little. I told my mother it was because I hated the heat. We lived in farm country, and Mavis up on the border where the lakes are cool and the breezes blow in from Canada all summer long.
Gonna fix this volume for you guys, hang on.
And it was true to a point. But the real reason I wanted to visit Aunt Mavis every summer was that she was a card.
Just a sip. That's all. You're only 11.
That was Mavis giving me my first taste of wine.
That's enough, young lady. You'll be a lush if you're not careful.
First taste of wine, first taste of whiskey, movies my mother wouldn't let me see, advice on boys.
Don't show too much interest at first. Just glance over, meet his eyes for a moment, and then, if he's very cute, smile. Then turn back and ignore him.
There wasn't a question she couldn't answer, it seemed, even when I was older.
University's too big. No, that's your mother talking, dear. Look, it might seem big, but it won't be that way for long. You'll find your friends, your room, your classes. Nobody goes to the whole university at once, do they?
And she'd been right. I did love it there. That meant Mother had been wrong and Aunt Mavis had been right. I knew Aunt Mavis and Mother didn't get along. Sisters do that sometimes. I never asked Mother why, and I only asked Mavis once.
I suppose it's silly,
She'd said.
but your mother took something that belonged to me once.
Mom died 2 years ago. Surgery, infection. Dad's head is filled with lawsuits and figures and which doctors can testify on our behalf. I don't have any patience for it. So when Aunt Mavis passed,
Why don't you take care of it, hon? I'm up to my eyeballs with this.
Dad never finishes his sentences anymore. So I drive north. It's ugly this spring here. Not even really spring yet. It's just the horrible dead time as the snow melts, revealing what was underneath. The frost line is 5 feet deep this far north, so it'll be weeks before the grass really comes back and the trees leaf in and the real spring arrives. It's as if the world has given birth to itself again, and it is still fresh from the womb, covered in the fluids and the violence, awaiting its chance to be cleaned up and wrapped into a perfect little bundle. It's so easy to look past this time of spring. We all know what's coming, and that's what we focus on. We don't pay attention to the mud and the sand, the leftover death that's everywhere. We just ignore it. It's just that I can't. Not this year. I arrive at Aunt Mavis's house. It's the house she and my mother grew up in. It's big for the neighborhood, probably too big. It was never very easy to heat. Her furniture is gone, divided up amongst the relatives, the cast-offs to the Salvation Army. The only exceptions are a small kitchen table with 2 chairs and the guest room, my room, which was left intact and unchanged. This is for me. I will stay in this house as I go through her things. Next to my room is Aunt Mavis's. It still smells of the lilac lotion she always used, and I'm surprised to see 2 of her old cotton dresses hanging in the closet. They are simple, plain, the kind she wore late in life when she was, in her own words, past the point of caring. I arrive as the sun sets on that first day. The house seems to welcome me, as an old woman in a hospital bed might welcome a visitor. Aunt Mavis's papers had been left for me in cardboard boxes. The desk they were in, a prize now belonging to some cousin in Duluth, is gone. I'll work from the kitchen table. The next day, I begin. It only took me 5 minutes to find it. A black book, locking strap on the side. The gold letters on the front spelling diary had almost been worn off. I glanced at it briefly and then set it aside. I had a lot of work to do. I didn't think of the diary again until I'd worked through the morning. I was in her room and the smell of lilac perfume brought me back to it. The key was nowhere to be found. I cut the strap with kitchen shears. It gave easily like paper. It never occurred to me that there might be something wrong in this, reading my dead aunt's diary. It had no value. It held no interest for anyone but me. I suppose the only options would have been to read it or destroy it. I can't say I thought about the decision carefully. I didn't even make a decision. I just acted. I outread the light that first day. Have you ever done that? Gotten so engrossed in something that you're reading that you lose track of time? You squint harder and harder at the page until you realize you're squinting because the light is fading, is gone. I couldn't stop reading.
April 2nd, wash day.
That was Aunt Mavis when she was 13. The diary started around then.
Mom made me work twice as long as Carol.
Carol, that was my mother.
Mother made a deal about our fighting, like we shouldn't fight so much. Nuts, I thought, but I couldn't say it out loud. Nuts!
I wonder if that was cussing in her day.
Carol gets away with everything just because she's prettier, and she knows how to work Mother like an old plow horse. I wish I could deceive like Carol, but everything that comes into my head shows up on my face. I can't feel anything without Mother knowing. Carol's like an actress, a professional liar.
My mother an actress? I had never thought about it before, but I began to see it. Mother always did seem so controlled, specific, and she always knew what I was thinking no matter how hard I tried to hide it. Aunt Mavis had lifted a veil for me. That night I took the diary to bed and read for hours. I didn't look at the clock when I turned out the light, but I couldn't sleep, and I rose with the sun. The next day I made progress. I worked most of the morning and then sat with the diary through the afternoon. There was a lot of Aunt Mavis in that diary, a lot of the woman I recognized. But there was a lot of new things, too. A 14-year-old girl, then a 15-year-old. Her first kiss was a boy named Elmer. He smelled like sin and motor oil, and he seemed afraid of her. She was invited to the snowball dance before Carol was that year. That was a monumental event in Aunt Mavis's life, worthy of 2 full pages in the diary.
January 23rd, the day after Snowball. I'm shaking all over. I can't think straight. I dropped the canned peaches helping Mom with dinner, then cut myself picking up the glass. I'm in a fog because of him.
And that is the first, about 10 minutes of the diary starring Ayla McIntosh and Linda Faith. You know, I'm really proud of that script. Love ghost stories to begin with, and that is one of my all-time favorites. You can find it on the Frozen Frights podcast feed. You just go to iceboxradio.org, click on podcast. Frozen Frights is in there with all the rest of the stuff, and you can certainly check it out along with a lot of other recordings that we made over the years, so many so that I just could not shut up. This Halloween had to come on and say how do you do to everybody. This is Jeff, completely spontaneous, making it up as I go along radio show featuring radio drama from the Icebox Radio Theater and from a lot of other great shows like Suspense. I just put the IBRT in the same category as Suspense. I think that's ridiculous. Anyway, 908 3rd Street is the address. Come on by. Not too many trick-or-treaters, so there's plenty of candy. Diane said we probably wouldn't even need the one bag we got, and she was right, of course. So I'm very, very happy that you're joining us. Give us a chat. I think I got all the technical problems worked out, and I'm just enjoying playing some shows for you here. Well, you know it's Halloween, which means you know what happens tomorrow. That's right, the Christmas decorations show up in earnest. I know in a lot of places they already are, but how about a crossover piece? How about something that's 50% Halloween and 50% Christmas? Just the holidays. In one 6-minute award-winning feature that I made back in, I'm going to go about 2000, probably, maybe 1999, 1998. This particular piece was one I did with my daughter Rachel when my daughter Rachel was much smaller than she is now. And it won a Silver Ogle Award. The Mark Time Ogle Awards were like our Oscars back then. We didn't have anything else. And it actually got me to Minnesota for the first time, got me to Convergence for the first time, and gave me a very much needed boost in the area of radio drama. So you know what? I think this is maybe the time to check and see if this second one works.
Hi, everybody. This is Jeff from the Icebox Radio Theater.
Oh, that's me.
I wanted to come on real quick and give a word of explanation for the show you're about to hear.
Oh, I forgot about this part.
It's not actually an IBRT episode. What you're about to hear is an episode of Imagination X.
Ah, yes.
That's a program that I produced before I started the Icebox Radio Theater, before I actually even...
I'm going to let me talk your way into this, so just enjoy up on the rooftops.
The state of Oregon when I lived there. And it's sort of, I guess, formative. If you take a look at what the IBRT became, it all started back here with Imagination X. IX, as I shorthanded it, used to do a lot of horror and science fiction, and we'll be putting those pieces up this summer basically on the different archive podcasts. So the horror pieces will go up on Frozen Frights, and the sci-fi and fantasy will go up on Tales from the Wreck. If you'd like to get it all, just make sure to subscribe to the Everything Icebox feed in iTunes. So now, sit back, relax, and enjoy a blast from the past. It's Imagination X on Radio Icebox.
The following audio drama is rated PG-13 for parental guidance.
It's up on the roof.
Daddy, please.
A midwinter's evening. A house like any other. They can't get in here. The windows are boarded, the doors are locked.
Daddy, please.
Sweetie, not now. This is very, very serious.
But you have to let him in. Santa Claus is here.
It's not Santa.
Why?
Because it isn't.
But, Dad, it's Christmas Eve.
Two people, a family, entered this day in expectation, even if their house was kept cold and their clothes were last year's. The tree was lit, the turkey was roasting, and Santa Claus was coming to town. But then... There it is!
Daddy, don't!
Get off of my house! He came. The story is Up on the Rooftops. Imagination X.
Daddy, don't shoot Santa!
Don't ever bump my arm like that. It's dangerous.
But you were going to shoot Santa!
Listen, I don't have time for this right now. Go to your room.
No, I want to stay here with you!
Then keep quiet. Oh, honey, I need you to be a big girl. I don't think it's Santa up on the roof. I think it's some bad men trying to get into the house.
No, it's Santa.
Honey, please.
If it was bad men, they just break through the windows, Daddy. Santa's on the roof.
Stupid phone's still out.
Don't be afraid, Dad. You've been good this year.
Why would the phone be out? Well, they must have cut the wires.
Daddy.
Honey, try and understand. I told you all about Santa Claus, but none of it was true. It's just a story.
Then why did you tell me it was true?
I don't know.
I do, Daddy. You just don't believe anymore.
Honey, Santa Claus
Didn't he come when you were a little boy?
That was Grandpa.
Did you ever see him?
We can't talk right now. We don't have time.
You never saw him, did you?
No, but I know because I've been Santa since you were born. The dollhouse last year that was under the tree, I put it there.
But that was when you had your old job, right?
They're close to the chimney.
Daddy, you said we weren't going to have much of a Christmas because you lost your job. Maybe that's when Santa comes, when you can't get presents any other way.
What are they doing?
If it was robbers like you say, they wouldn't come down the chimney. They wouldn't fit.
Well, maybe
Daddy, just put down your gun, please.
I stand back.
Only if you put down your gun.
All right. I'm putting it down.
Here he comes, Daddy. Here he comes.
Just stand back.
Go and see. Go and see him.
Hello? Hello?
I'm sorry, Daddy. They come from far, far away, and they said this would be the easiest way for them to live here.
Get away!
Don't be silly. They contacted us first, me and Beckett and all the kids in the neighborhood. They said if we helped them, they wouldn't hurt you too much, and we could have anything we wanted for Christmas.
Please.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
What are they doing?
They said this wouldn't hurt, and when it's all over, you'll be all fixed, and we can have a Christmas dinner just like always. Daddy, he says it would be better if I left the room now. I'll see you in a little bit.
Don't leave me. Don't leave me, please.
A little house on a midwinter's eve, just like all the others. The girl was played by Rachel Adams. Music by Brian Elsner. This is Jeffrey Adams. Imagination X.
The following audio drama is rated R for restricted.
A lonely man, a scholar and writer, organizing some recent research in a subject with which he is not familiar. The story is called Background. Imagination X.
Not exactly sure what that means.
Hello?
Johnny, you're at home.
Yeah, hi Rick. Can you call me back? I'm transferring those tapes to my computer.
What? What for?
I burned them onto a CD. It's a lot easier to index the notes that way.
Hey, it's all geek to me, man. I never even understood self-correcting typewriter ribbons. So tell me, what happened?
Nothing. No, I walked around the house for an hour, I took some notes, and I shot a roll of film.
What about the medium?
The what? Oh, your Ghostbuster. She wouldn't even walk in.
Why the hell not?
Something about the tangible evil in the aura of the place. I don't know. I don't even know why I'm doing this, to tell you the truth.
Publisher's hot to trot for a ghost book, Johnny.
I write true crime, Rick.
It is true crime. There was a murder.
Yeah, and the guy confessed, and he was convicted in 10 minutes, and now he's doing life. Where's the mystery?
But the story's a killer, right? Axe-murdering dad claims of hearing voices and seeing strange things, chopped up his kids with a hatchet and left the pieces piled in front of doorways and windows. It's fantastic.
Easy, Rick.
All to keep the spirits at bay. This is fantastic.
Superstition. Hey, I don't believe in evil spirits, and neither do you.
Wait. Hey, I got another call, and I'm expecting Cindy from Doubleday. Can I call you back?
No, I'm working.
I'll call you back.
Jeez. Fine. Two little ghosties sitting on posties eating buttered toasties. There.
Some dry rot.
That's pretty scary.
Up along the ceiling.
Hello?
Here's a bedroom.
It's storming here.
Huh, okay, this one's painted pink. Not exactly sure what that means again, because my impressions of the place are that it's an old house. Well, moving out of the kids' rooms now, back into the hall. Oop, got some termites here.
Hello?
Maybe
John,
ants.
John, you okay?
Rick?
Place
I've
obviously
been trying your line for 10 minutes. It was dead.
It's
10
nothing
minutes?
you
We just got off the line a minute ago.
What's
can't
that?
really see. There are
Just something I've been playing with. Hey, what's wrong?
John, you never believe it. He's escaped.
Who?
The guy. The father broke out of the state pen yesterday.
Well, I guess I could make a more interesting book.
Don't you understand? He's loose.
So?
So lock your doors. You're not safe.
Me? Rick, I was in the guy's house for an hour. He doesn't even know I exist. Why would he come after me?
What time did you say you went into that place?
4:30, I guess.
John, he broke out of prison at 4:35.
That's a coincidence. Is this one of your stupid jokes?
My mother's grave. John, this guy believed spirits in the house were telling him to do things. It wasn't just his kids. He cut off his own fingers. He held his hand in boiling oil till it shriveled.
God, Rick.
And he walked to the police station and confessed all because whatever thing is in that house told it to. There are forces working in this guy that you and I can't understand. Now just shut up, listen to me, and lock your doors.
Rick, I don't know what you're trying to do, but I'm going to go back to work now.
Never mind about that. Just lock your doors.
Rick, it's not funny, okay? And if this is your attempt at literary inspiration, it really sucks.
John, call me if you need anything. All right?
Goodbye. Idiot, what does he think he's doing?
Not exactly sure what that means again,
If I
because
have a mind, I should lock up all of these tapes. I should mail them to
my
him. I should
impressions
erase
of
all
the
these
place are that
files.
it's an old house.
What is that anyway?
Well, moving out of the kids' rooms now, back into the hall.
Okay, John, calm down. You just keyed up, that's all. Keyed up because of one of Rick's stupid jokes.
exactly sure what that means again, because my impressions of the place are that it's an old house. Well, moving out of the kids' rooms now, back into the hall.
All right, did you hear anything when you were at the house? I wasn't paying attention, was I? Well, there's something on the tape now. Oh, this is stupid. It was just a piece of recycled tape, that's all. So if it's just a piece of recycled tape, you should be able to figure out what it is, right? Right? Damn you. Okay. Let's see. Gotta get rid of all the rest of that junk.
My impressions of the place are that it's an old house. My impressions of the place are that it's an old house. It's an old house. It's an old house.
Yeah, there it is. It's backwards. All right. Audio suite. Reverse. Okay. No, it still doesn't sound right. It's too slow. Oh. Time compression. There it is. Okay. No, not enough. One more time. Mr. Ghost, let's hear what you have to say.
Don't look behind you. Don't look behind you. I'm sorry, mister. But he told you not to look.
You don't understand. I do. Well, that was, initially it was Up on the Rooftops, award-winning piece from an earlier series I did before the Icebox Radio Theater. And then I threw in another one just for fun. Just for fun. The second one there is entitled Background, which I'm really quite proud of, frankly. I mean, listen to it now, and there's obviously some audio issues that got better mics, got better equipment, and plus that show's, probably about 20 years old, actually about 24 years old now. If you can't tell, did all the voices myself, even the piano part at the end, that was me plunking away with just a few notes on the upright piano that we had in the living room at that point. And it still holds up. It was the first time I remember writing something going, ooh, this is scary. This is actually kind of scary. I'm scared by this. And it's a lot of fun to listen to. Well, once again, this is Jeff from the Icebox Radio Theater here doing Halloween radio, a completely spontaneous idea I had about an hour and a half ago. And it took about an hour to get up on the air, both on streaming on Facebook and Twitter, as well as in our radio station, our streaming radio station. I was going to take a look here and see who is currently listening on Radio Icebox. That's a station you can listen to. Just go to iceboxradio.org/stream. And yeah, we have someone who's been who's been listening for 4 days in Russia. So obviously I'm being monitored by Putin. That's the only explanation. There are apparently two people, it counts as two for some reason, in Boardman, Oregon. I'm a native Oregonian. I have no idea where Boardman is. There's a listener who's been listening for about an hour in Winnipeg. And I'm going to take those seriously because, obviously that's nearby, and they've only been listening for an hour, about an hour and 59 seconds. And Houston, you're on the air here at, for the last 5 minutes or so. Hope I don't put you off too much. And we currently have a couple of listeners on Facebook. We've been tweeting back and forth. And I guess it's only twitting. It's never twitting. It's tweeting. It's tweeting. See, I shouldn't really have a microphone without supervision. But I promised a little lights out because I think it's time to go back to some old-time radio. This is, I'll be honest. Went online this year, looking what are the scariest old-time radio shows of all time. And the author of that particular list, no, I don't remember where it was, that particular list mentioned this episode of Lights Out as one of his all-time favorites. It's called Valtriste. And, gosh, what can I say about Valtriste?
Yeast presents Lights Out.
Check out this intro.
Everybody.
Man, I want a gong. Is that a gong or is that like a bell? I can't tell. Is later than you think.
Lights Out brings you stories of the supernatural and the supernormal.
I'm trying to remember if this includes
fantasies and the mysteries.
A commercial for ionized yeast at the Open.
We tell you this frankly.
We call that pre-roll.
So if you wish
radio.
to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginative plays,
I think in those days they called it a commercial. Whatever the case, thank you for putting up with the nonsense. I hope you are enjoying this audio offering, even if you're watching it via video.
My name, Arch Oval.
Hello, Arch.
Tonight, another in our series of tales of the weird and the unusual. And this one is really unusual. It's about that little god of chance, the one who flips a coin and makes us rich men or beggar men.
Oh, Two-Face.
But before we start, Frank Martin has something to say to you.
Ah, yes.
And I'd like to suggest, friends, that success is...
Have you ever heard these commercials? It's really interesting.
No, success depends largely on you yourself. You can't hope to get ahead if you're miserably thin and tired and nervous. But you needn't necessarily go on feeling that way. If your trouble is vitamin B and iron shortage,
sure,
then take ironized yeast tablets.
Uh-huh.
They give you both vitamin B and iron. Thus, when you need them, help 2 ways to build you up. Help 2 ways to restore strength and pep. Men and women by the thousands who only needed more vitamin B and iron say, thanks to ironized yeast, they've gained new vigor,
all right.
new weight,
I just
strength.
realized I was going to play you guys a scary radio play, and I got totally enraptured with this ionized yeast tablet. If anyone knows what exactly yeast tablets were supposed to do for you, other than give you pep, please do leave a comment on Facebook or Twitter, because I'd love to know. Oh, here we go. The show's starting.
You say the world is planned.
Yep. I'm going to let you listen for a little bit, and then we'll be back with a little more Icebox Radio Theater.
Sailing, sailing over the bounding main.
Cut it out, Laura. Cut it out. You're rocking the boat.
Babe, this is really fun.
Will you quit doing the Big Apple? This ain't Roxy's. This is a canoe.
Smell that air. Isn't it just terrific?
Yeah, there's too much of it.
Dottie Nelson, don't you talk that way. You know mighty well we came out here to get healthy.
All right. So I'll get healthy even if it kills me.
Sure was a funny way to pick out a place to go on a vacation, wasn't it? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah, and this place was mo. Well, what if we picked out Alaska or Cicero or someplace like that? At least this way.
Oh, Daddy, look.
Look at what?
On the shore over there, all those big flowers.
Flowers? Oh, for Pete's sake, the way you were wiggling, I thought it was Indians.
Come on, let's go pick them.
Okay, finally, as long as you do the paddling. Hey, look out, Girl Scout, you're driving over the curb.
Land ho!
Oh, hey, you tear the bottom out of this battleship and we'll have to pay for it.
Oh, I didn't hurt it. Come on, get out and help me pick these posies.
All right. As long as there's no keep off the grass signs.
Dottie Nelson, will you get it through that head of yours if this ain't Central Park? This is honest to gosh wilderness.
Says you. Make mine vanilla with onions.
Aren't they just the loveliest flowers you ever saw?
2 bits were right in the middle of some poison ivy.
Hey, look. What?
The boat, it's drifting off.
Well, catch it, quick.
What do you mean, catch it? I can't swim.
Dot, do something. Do something. Don't just stand there.
Don't you yell at me. You're the one to blame. You should have pulled the boat higher out of the water.
Oh, Dot, what'll we do? They'll make us pay for it.
Who cares about the boat? I'm worried about us.
Us?
Yes. How are we going to get back to that camp?
Well, we can walk.
Oh, you sure must have strained your brain thinking up that one.
Oh, you needn't get so fresh about it. You certainly don't think I wanted the boat.
All right. Let's hang up the boxing gloves and get out of here.
Dot.
Huh?
How dark it's getting.
So what?
Why is it getting so dark?
Listen, lame brain. I may be just a hillbilly from 10th Avenue, but I know clouds when I see them. So they're clouds. You know, clouds, rain, remember?
I'm scared.
Oh, what have you got to be scared about all of a sudden? Come on. I'll get you back to camp.
No. Wait, Dot.
Huh?
Let's not the way. We gotta go the other way.
Listen, lame brain, I'll do the path finding.
But you're wrong. You're all mixed up. It's the other way.
Is that a path or isn't it?
But there's a path going the other way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right.
Well, what'll we do?
You go one way and I'll go the other.
Oh, no, we won't. I'm scared. We'll stick together.
Okay, we'll flip for it as usual. I had a nickel. Oh, yeah, here it is. Heads, we take the right-hand path. Tails, we take the left-hand path.
All right.
Okay, call it.
Heads.
Heads it is. Okay, Girl Scout, lead the way.
No, you go first.
Okay, but if this path leads us up to the middle of nowhere, so help me, I'm going to pull you apart like a herring. So dark. Keep moving, keep moving.
Wait, Dot.
Well, what's the matter now? Some more posing?
Listen. You hear it?
So help me a fiddle.
I told you we were heading the right
Will
way.
you turn over that I told you so record and keep moving? I'm hungry. Keep moving.
All right.
Keep moving.
Okay.
Well, this must be the front door of the joint.
What's that? How funny.
Oh, what's funny now? That's pretty music.
The place hasn't any windows.
The door's all I care about.
Do you think we ought to disturb whoever's playing?
Disturb is right one side, Lady Gwendolyn. I'll do the knocking.
Doesn't seem to hear us.
Oh, he'll hear me. There, that did it.
It's awful thrilling, isn't it?
Okay, you do the thrilling and you'll do the paying if they can't find that boat. Of all the donkeys.
How do you do?
How do you do? We're sorry to bust in like this.
Well, we sort of lost our way. Our boat, and we thought maybe you could tell us.
Of course. Won't you step in? I'm more than glad to see you.
Well,
of course we will. Come on, Dot.
Okay.
It's going to rain.
Yeah, we found that out.
We certainly were lucky to find this place. We heard you playing the violin.
Now, did you really? If you'll step this way.
Oh, Dot, isn't he the strangest man?
Yeah. Turned his face away.
He must be terribly ugly.
Oh, forget it. Go on, keep moving.
If you'll step in here, I have a small fire going.
Kind of dark.
Yeah.
If you'll do me the honor of being seated.
All right.
Oh, boy, what a chair.
Yes, it's most comfortable. Now, if I might be permitted to introduce myself, I'm John Boyd.
I'm pleased to meet you, Mr. Boyd. I'm Laura, and she's Dottie.
Don't believe me, mister, it's a pleasure. To my dog's hurt.
May I sit and talk with you? There's so very much to talk about.
Well, we should be getting back to camp.
Oh, we got plenty of time. And anyway, mister, you don't know what a lifesaver you were.
Was I? Really?
Anything gets Laura scared is to be in the dark.
All those rain clouds.
Then I must apologize for not having more light here. You see, my eyes...
Oh, that's all right, Mr.
Boy.
I never could remember names. I guess I don't really mind it being dark in here. It's sort of like a nice tea room.
Really?
Don't mind her, Mr. Boyd. She was hit on the head by a bowling ball when very young.
Oh, Ned, Dot.
Will you listen to that wind?
The storm will come in just a few more moments.
Gives me the willies.
Is your wife home, Mr. Boyd?
I'm quite alone.
Sure must get lonely out here.
It was. Very lonely.
Getting awful dark in here, isn't it?
The storm...
Oh,
don't be alarmed. A door banging in the wind. If you'll excuse me for just a moment, I'll fix it.
Okay. Okay.
Dad.
Huh?
Let's get out of here.
Why?
You're scared, too.
Oh, I'm not scared. It looks so funny and shadowy in the dark.
Dad.
Huh?
What's that funny smell?
Yeah, I noticed it. Like medicine.
He walks and holds his head so funny.
Now, why does he keep away from the light of the fire?
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, okay. We'll make a run for it before the rain starts.
Okay.
I suggest you stay. Yes, I suggest you stay.
Come on, Dot.
You'd better stay, my dear. The storm, it's close at hand.
Yeah? Well, something tells me I'd rather be out there than in here.
Me too.
Well, I'll be seeing you. Come on, Laura.
Okay. Mister.
Yes?
Mister, the door's locked.
I know it.
You know it. Now, listen. Let's What's the big idea locking that door on us?
You let us out of here, mister.
Mr. Boyd, or whatever your name is. Didn't you hear me? What's the big idea locking the door?
I have some very interesting things to talk about with both of you.
We want to get out of here.
Come on, unlock the door.
We'll scream our heads off.
There's no one around for 15 miles.
Are you going to open that door?
I suggest you sit down.
Give us that key. Now open that door. I tell you.
Don, why did you...
Sorry I had to do that. I'm really a very gentle man.
See? See what I say? I said that was a scary Lights Out episode. And you can catch the rest of Val Trieste, oh boy, all over the place. I've seen that particular episode. Variety of YouTube versions as well as downloadable from Internet Archive. There are podcasts. If you're a podcast listener, just search for Lights Out. There's actually, I think at least 2 people have just claimed Lights Out as their own podcast, and Val Trieste is always included. That, is something that Arch Oboler was particularly good at, and that was the villain who's just kind of nice in a way. There's a big twist ending at the end with which always to me, I won't tell you what the twist is, but I'll say one of the things that Arch Oboler has been noted for over the years is that volume. He produced a lot of scripts. He didn't always work a long time on any individual script. In fact, there's stories of him, like the day before rehearsals are supposed to start, sitting in bed with a dictaphone machine. Now, let's get your mind out of the gutter. That's a perfectly reasonable piece of equipment, office equipment from the 1940s. Just sort of free-forming these ideas. And another interesting thing about Arch Oboler, as a writer, he did a lot of really great parts for women at a time when horror stories for women or horror stories with great parts for women were few and far between. In fact, I'll go so far as to say pop culture, radio, movies, whatever, good parts for women were kind of hard to come by. There's another episode called Poltergeist, which features 3, right there we heard 2 young women on vacation canoeing, much to the chagrin of one of them. Poltergeist features 3 basically identical kind of characters. Personally, my theory is Arch Oboler depended on the typing pool, which is how it worked back in the day, right? Everything was on paper. So when you spoke your great radio masterpiece into a dictaphone machine, you had to then give it to the girls, because it was girls, in the typing pool to sit down and type it up. And he did several stories about the girls in the typing pool. And, he must have hung out there, I'm thinking. He must have hung out there and also written these stories for them so that they would do an extra good job on his scripts. Check out Poltergeist. It's very scary as well. But Val Trieste is worth the listen, but we're kind of doing things sort of short form here at Halloween Radio. And that's that. Well, I was going to go ahead and offer up a very recent story now from the Icebox Radio Theater. If you're not a fan of our podcast, you might not have heard this. If you are, it's do another listen. This is a ghost story that is entitled Edith. It's presented as a table play on YouTube. So in other words, you can go to YouTube and you actually see the actors perform with some, I'll call them special effects in parentheses. Here is Justin Kapla and Ian Hall.
Yes?
Hello, Carl.
Hello, Edith.
I didn't think you'd answer my ring. So many of my calls have been going to... What is that thing?
Voicemail?
Yes, voicemail. I'm such a silly goose. Every time I hear your voice on that thing, I think it's you and I start chatting away.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering. I know you're very busy.
What do you want, Edith?
Can't a friend just call a friend on the telephone?
We're not friends.
It hurts when you say things like that.
Edith, I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't want a thing from you.
Yeah, but,
I'd like us to meet.
I thought I made myself clear on
that. Your intention is clear. Your reason.
I don't need to tell you my reasons. My reasons would just hurt your feelings.
never hurt me.
Edith, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask
Don't.
you. I'm going to have to ask you not to call here again. It's not you, it's me. I just got out of a relationship, and I'm not looking to start another one right now.
You sound like one of those books about extracting yourself from a clingy suitor.
I'm serious. I don't think I can help you.
You're the only one that can.
You've called me, what, a dozen times so far?
Who's counting?
And I still don't know what you want.
I want us to meet, silly. I need for us to meet.
Yeah, but why me? You called me out of the blue, coming on to me.
Coming on to you? What on earth do you mean?
Okay, fine. I don't know what your intent was, but you say I can help you, and I don't even know you. I don't know what you want or who you are.
All the more reason for us to meet. Come to my house. Sit with me for tea. We can talk about it.
Talk about what?
You needn't raise your voice.
I'm sorry.
I forgive you. Now, when would you like to come over for tea?
I'm not, Edith. I'm not. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but I never want to speak to you again.
Well, I have to say, for someone who doesn't want to talk to me, you certainly keep on talking.
Goodbye, Edith.
Wait, let me explain.
I wish I could tell you how much I enjoy these little chats.
I'm sorry, Larry. If there was anyone else I could call, then I would, but...
Supervisor's on my ass, man. He's pissed they won't let him put a clock in our private cells, so he's watching everybody like a hawk. He finds me with this phone in my ear, and he'll put me on graveyard shift.
What for? This is official company business. You work for the mobile company, and you're helping a customer block a number.
Private favors for friends are not official company business. At least not for my pay grade.
Well, I don't know where else to turn.
I put a ticket in, man. You should have been able to block her by now.
She called again.
Like I say, you should have been able to block it. If she's still getting through, well, bitch has some skills. That's all I can say.
Yeah, this is pointless.
New phone, new number. That should solve it.
I can't afford a new phone right now.
I don't know what to tell you. It's the best solution.
Is that what you would do?
I'd go with a prepaid burner for a few months so she'd lose the scent, but basically, yeah.
I was thinking about another idea.
Why do I not like the sound of that?
Reverse directory.
Reverse directory what? Are you thinking it's a landline?
I don't know why, but yeah. Call it a feeling. There's something old-fashioned about her.
Well, I can't help you, man. We're a cellular company. You'd have to contact Ma Bell or one of the other dinosaurs for that info. If they even keep those directories anymore. Besides, what's your plan there? Go and talk to her?
I don't know.
Because that's exactly what she wants. You show up at her house, she's going to interpret that as interest, which is exactly what you don't want to do.
I guess. I just want to know something she doesn't know. Get something on her for a change, you know?
Not really. You're being stalked, Carl. The general strategy for that is to stay away from your stalker. Don't go to their house for tea.
What?
I said don't go to her house.
No, that bit about tea. What was that?
What? Did I say something about tea?
Yeah, you know what? Never mind. Do you know someone at the phone company? The old phone company, I mean?
No, but... God, why do I keep doing this? I do have an idea.
What?
Well, in college, this young lad used to work at a process servers downtown. Old school outfit in the basement below an office supply store. They had a shelf full of reverse directories. If I call them up and find someone who remembers me...
Could you? I just need her address.
Your wish is my command, apparently. But you and I are going to have a talk about identity security over many, many drinks, which you'll be buying. Get me?
Of course, of course. Thank you. Larry?
Just don't shoot the messenger, okay?
I promise, I won't. What do you got?
First, how do you feel about hiring a private investigator?
What?
Process servers out of business, and some private eye bought all their reference books. Naturally, she was happy to help. fee.
How much?
Oh, you'll be getting a bill.
What?
Rather than listen to you him and haw for 2 weeks, I hired a lady and told her to bill you because you want to know the address, right? Or does the wind blow from the other direction today?
Well, it's not that.
Carl.
Fine.
Good boy. 124 Sycamore.
What?
I know. Sounds like Leave It to Beaver. But there is a 100 block of Sycamore Street. It's a nice little subdivision 90 years ago.
Yeah, but isn't that all industrial now?
Mostly. But I street viewed it. There's a broken-ass house between a machine shop and an Amazon warehouse. The place is there. You'll just need a security escort and a tetanus shot to go visit it.
Thanks, Larry. I appreciate it.
2 words of advice?
Yeah?
Don't go.
This can't be right. It just can't. Doesn't make any sense. Larry?
Are you in?
Why are you calling me?
You can't expect me to do all that legwork for you and not be a little bit curious. Plus, if you're on the line with me when the maniac stabs you in the face, I can call 911.
Well, you're very reassuring.
So are you in?
Yeah, it was open.
What do you mean, open?
I mean, I knocked on the door and it just fell open. The place is abandoned, Larry.
Weird. A neighborhood like that, someone should have bulldozed it by now.
Yeah. And it's not like other abandoned places I've seen. Remember when I worked for that hazard cleanup company?
Your hazmat and bleach period. Sure.
We did a lot of drug houses. Not where they were cooking meth or anything, but we did a lot of places where users were squatting. The far gone people, you know?
Yeah, hang on. I just got an email from our investigator lady.
There would always be dirty mattresses on the floor, lots of tags and spray paint on the walls. It smelled like piss, always. 100% of the time. This house has none of that. I mean, it's not clean, but it's not wrecked either. It's like everyone just steered clear. Oh, God.
What is it?
There's a rotary phone here. They have the number on that little sticker right in the center of the dial. It's the same, Larry. This is Edith's house.
Yeah, about that. You need to get out of there.
What do you mean?
I had the private eye CC her report to me, Carl. Have you read it yet?
No, it just came, right?
Just get out of there. That house. That woman, Edith. There's history there, Carl. You need to get out.
Why?
It's murder.
What?
Back in the 70s, she killed her husband, man. He was gonna leave her, and she offed him with a kitchen knife, and then she slit her wrists right there in the living room.
I don't... What?
Just get out of there, man.
Hang on, I got another call.
Wait, don't.
Hello?
You came.
What?
You came at last. Oh, darling, you don't know what that means to me.
Edith?
Please, make yourself at home. We have so much to talk about.
Edith, where are you calling from?
Of course. This place is a mess. I'm a mess, too. You should have warned me, dear. I would have fixed my face for you. No matter now. You're here. You're actually here. Oh, I can't tell you how wonderful this feels.
Where's here, Edith? Where am I?
Oh, you're in my home, darling.
Then where are you?
Oh, of course. You want to see me in the flesh, don't you? That's simple. Just turn around.
Ah!
pretty good, huh? I enjoyed that one an awful lot.
This has been Edith.
Credits
from the Icebox Radio Theater. Our play starred Justin Kapla as Kyle, Ian Hall as Larry, and Scotta Turner was Edith. Script written and directed by Jeffrey Adams, who also did sound effects and post-production.
Someone's yelling at the house.
This program from the Icebox Radio Theater was made possible in part by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Well, we'll call that
For
good.
more information.
That is Edith. As I mentioned, it's available both on our YouTube channel as well as the Frozen Frights podcast. I want to check out the YouTube channel because Scotta Turner did a really amazing job on that show. And Scotta's hobby is also costumes and makeup. And there is a visual shot at the end that's worth the trip to YouTube. Listen to the whole thing again, as it's kind of fun to watch how a table play comes together. Table plays, as I've mentioned to fans of the show on different podcasts, was an idea inspired by the National Public Radio, NPR's Tiny Desk concerts. I really got interested in that concept of how they could, if you've never seen a Tiny Desk concert, they just bring like a famous musician in, set him up at the desk, and then they perform usually acoustically. There's been all kinds of bands that have done that, and I just love the idea. So this is table play is a radio drama that's set up to that scale. The difference is we do the entire show in one day. We come in and rehearse for an hour or so, get our characters worked out, and then we record, and we also record on video and then present the show, both video and audio. This is Halloween Radio. I'm Jeff Adams, kind of a spontaneous deal waiting for trick-or-treaters. It's International Falls, Minnesota. I've mentioned it's starting to get a little chilly now. We've had a very warm day, which means the chill hits you even harder, of course, because we're going to lose probably 20 degrees now before the end of the day is, and it's very spooky. Right now I'm looking across at 4 young-looking kids who are walking across the Bacchus parking lot. Bacchus being a large, former junior high, now community center directly across the street. And they got about level with the house and stopped. And I have a speaker pointed out there. They might be looking this way. I do have fun-sized treats. Oh, one of them has a light on now. This is kind of creepy, actually, watching what's going on. I hope I'm not watching some sort of a ritual. Speaking of rituals, up next, I was going to go to a totally different kind of series that we did a few years back here at the IBRT. It was called Mystery on the Air. Most of our history, we focused on stories that have something to do with northern Minnesota, the part we're in. This was a season of classic stories. We did The Signalman, great ghost story by Charles Dickens. We did a couple of plays based on stories by H.P. Lovecraft, and one of my all-time favorites was actually the one that was good enough to kick off the whole series. It was The Music of Eric Zahn. If you're not familiar with the story, it's typical Lovecraft. It's about a guy playing music that is holding back the end of the world. Sorry, spoilers. In our case, I embellished the story quite a bit. In the original, it's a violinist, and his neighbor hears him. And I said, let's add some differences. Let's add a little spice to this deal, and actually have the story take place in about, let's say in post-war America, when radio was sort of fighting with television and also beginning to sort of fold in on itself. And what if we based this in a radio station that was the flagship of a small radio network that was suffering under the onslaught of NBC and CBS? And it starred Jim Yunt and myself and the incomparable Tanya Milosevic. If you listen to audio drama presently, you've heard Tanya Milosevic. She is an amazing actress from Boston. And we've worked remotely a couple of times, and it's always a pleasure to have Tanya in one of our shows. And this was the first one. I'm going to jump into the middle of the story now. What's happening in our story is Tanya is the legacy and also the program director at this radio station, and she wants Eric Zahn, who is the kind of all-purpose musical influence of the entire station, does all the incidental music for everything they do, is going to give a concert. And that's pretty much going to be the end of the station. They're going off the air the following week. And this is her with her boss, who's played by Jim Yunt. Let's jump in now. Here is Icebox Radio Theater with the music of Eric Zahn.
And he stormed out. The kindest, gentlest old man I'd ever known, stormed out of that studio in a fury. Harry the engineer was as surprised as I was, watching this sweet old character slam doors and knock things off shelves. I did the only thing I could think to do. I picked up his chalk slate, the tiny blackboard he used to communicate, and tried to figure a way to put it back together. It was in pieces. Howie, you got a minute?
Minutes, hours, you name it.
Have you been drinking?
Something you need, Mother?
Well, you could pour a girl a drink.
There you go.
I was kidding.
Shame.
Howard, what's wrong?
No, you first.
What?
Came in here for a reason, right? You didn't just sense I was drinking in the afternoon, did you? I didn't think nags had that ability.
Fine, it's about Eric.
What's wrong with Eric? Wait, is this about your little concert?
Yes.
What's that crowd done now?
Please don't call him that. He's Jewish. He escaped from the Nazis.
So he says. A lot of Germans escaped, you know. They all claim to be Jewish or Austrian or some such crap to escape a firing squad.
Howard.
Cowards. You know my unit liberated one of those camps? One of the camps they showed in Life magazine. You ever seen someone who's been starving so long you can't feed them? It's true, these people, these people had starved for so long that if you just give them food, they'd die. They'd eat too fast and they'd swell up and they'd die. I had to give them this thin gruel for the first week. Feed them with a spoon like babies.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Oh, hell. I'm sorry, too. I should put a sign on the door. Manager drinking. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
I'll come back.
No. What's little Eric done that's got your panties in a twist?
There's a piece of music I want to include in the program, but he refuses to play it.
Why?
I don't know. But when I tried to talk to him about it, he got angry. Furious, really.
Did he hurt you? If he hurt you, I swear to God.
Oh, no, of course not. He stormed out of the studio. I've never seen him that upset.
That doesn't sound like him.
Harry was there. He can tell you.
Well, okay. What do you want me to do about it?
If you could maybe just talk to him man to man.
I don't like talking to him. That little chalkboard of his and the damn grunting.
Howard.
What is so special about this piece of music? Why not just let him play what he wants? All sounds the same anyway, that classical bunk.
Not this music. This music was incredible. It was like nothing I'd ever heard. This music on our network, I'm telling you, Howard, it could be a whole new start for us. I know you don't think much of highbrows. Trust me, there's a lot of money there. We could form a network specifically for them. And then other people could find it. Classical music, great literature, all going out over the airwaves. And then it wouldn't matter if your family could afford to send you to the best schools. You could have something special. And it would be there for everyone.
Huh.
What? What is it?
For a minute there, you sounded, well, it was almost like I was talking to your dad.
I think he would have wanted this. This could be the start of something.
Well, it's not the start, it's the end.
What?
You haven't touched your drink, Helen.
Howard, what do you mean, the end?
I don't want to tell you here in the building. You want to go to lunch?
It's after 3.
You want to go to dinner?
Howard, please.
I've heard from the board. They've called all the affiliates and they agreed unanimously. They're going to take NBC's offer. We go off the air Sunday at midnight.
Does that mean?
Sorry, not Sunday. Monday at midnight. Sunday will be our last full day.
what happens to the studios? What happens to everyone?
They'll get pink slips and their last checks. They can file for relief. As for the studios, the building practically belongs to the bank anyway. We've been running in the red for months, Helen.
Then Eric's program is our swan song.
I suppose it is. All right, I'll talk to him.
Thank you.
Helen,
Yes?
I'm sorry.
I do not know what Howard said to Eric. I didn't want to know. It was probably a threat, possibly a lie, and definitely not in Eric's best interest. All I know is 2 hours later, Howard found me at my desk and told me a studio had been booked for the following day to record Eric's concert. An hour after that, a girl from the typing pool brought me an envelope. It was Eric's revised music list. The list was identical to the one I'd received before. Brahms and Beethoven and the rest. Identical, except for one addition. The last piece listed was called Oscille Suite, composer unknown. The day came. I went to the studio. Howard was there, looking stern and judgmental. Harry was at the board, carefully placing the 30-minute transcription disc onto the machine, making sure everything was ready. Pete, our best announcer, had come to work in a suit and tie, looking his best. I guess the news had gotten out, and everyone was a little down. We'd all be out of a job in 2 days. And this concert would be our last sustaining program, practically our last program, period. Then Eric arrived. He looked like a ghost. He was pale, his hair disheveled, his suit of massive wrinkles. And he smelled like he'd been drinking rot-gut whiskey. He marched past Howard and I without a glance. I looked at Howard, and he looked sheepishly back at me. I still didn't know what Howard had said to Eric to get him to add the mysterious music to the program. But looking at Howard's face, I got the idea he wasn't proud of what he'd done. But that was behind us now. It had to be. We had a show to do and a half an hour to do it in.
All right, Helen?
Yes. Eric, are you ready? Good. How about you, Pete?
Well, I could use a glass of water.
I'll run that in for you in just a moment. Let's get started. Harry?
And we're at speed.
All right, Harry, he's all yours.
Cues to Pete, ready in 4, 3, 2. The Colonial Radio Network is proud to present a special program of violin music featuring our own virtuoso, Mr. Eric Zahn.
Cue Eric.
We begin our concert today with Bach, as Maestro Zahn performs Partita No. 1 in B minor.
It went well at first, better than I could have hoped. Eric played beautifully and with confidence, though there was a great sadness in his eyes. Howard leaned against the wall, gazing indifferently through the glass, but I was confident that would change once he heard the amazing, disturbing music that would come. It was that time of the program. I was watching Eric through the control room glass. He'd grown paler since we'd begun recording. Ashen, almost. When he looked at me, I could not read what was in his eyes. I could not tell if it was sadness or anger or just resignation.
And now, a piece that is, to the very best of our knowledge, a world premiere. Maestro Zahn now with the Oscille Suite, composer unknown.
As the first notes escaped from the meeting of horsehair and wire, I felt a chill. It was not as if I was having goose flesh from hearing this beautiful music. It was as if the control room had grown colder. I looked down at Harry, who was in his shirt sleeves. I saw goose flesh on his arm. He reached over and rubbed it vigorously.
What the hell? Is the heat on the fritz again?
The cold put me on edge, but I couldn't stop listening to Eric pile notes on top one another. The music sounded angry, but Eric's eyes were lifeless and glazed over. His hands worked the bow and the fingering with robotic precision. He appeared to be unconscious, but he was playing beautifully. And then it was as if the very light in the room began to fade. Not like an electrical problem, but like the molecules of light could no longer reflect off of a solid surface. Eric played and then played on. And as I listened, I became overcome with feelings I hadn't expected. I was overcome with feelings of horror. I looked at the men around the room. Pete was in his tiny isolation booth, staring at Eric, a look of revulsion on his face. Howard had turned away. He had a flask in his hand and was drawing from it greedily. I did not know if Howard was disgusted with the music or with me for having caused this abomination. But we knew, somehow, all of us knew, that this was wrong, that we should not be hearing this, that this music should not even exist. It was then that I turned back toward Eric and saw that the studio glass, the huge 5x10 sheet that protected the studio from the noise of the outside, had grown cloudy and dark. It was almost opaque now. And then I realized there were things moving in the glass. There were shapes flowing in gentle circles, and there were tiny pinpoints of light twinkling on and off. And I could hear them, like low, angry rumbles in the distance. It was like I was looking through a telescope at some distant, cold, unholy corner of space that rumbled and belched its indifference out into the universe as it flowed ever outward. And Eric played on and on. Soon I could not see him through the glass. I could only see the stars and the planets, if that's what they were. I reached over and put my hand on Howard's shoulder. He wouldn't look at me. He faced away from the glass and shook his head vigorously like a frightened little child. My breath was short. My heartbeat hammered in my ears. Knowing this was all my fault, that I had to do something about it, I opened my mouth to order Harry to stop the recording, but before I could, the control room window shattered, obliterating the images of space I thought I'd seen. The entire thing exploded into the studio. Not a single shard fell back into the control room. Pete, the announcer, was protected in his isolation booth, but he was knocked back. He stood up. His eyes were wide and red-rimmed by tears.
Tanya there doing the wrap-up. If you want to hear this, as I mentioned, the podcast is entitled Music on the Air. No, the podcast is entitled Mystery on the Air. And it is, I think, some of the best work we've ever done, especially this one, Music of Eric Zahn, and also Among the Reeds. Oh, man, I hate it when I do that. When I'm trying to celebrate or talk about a show, and instantly the title goes out of my head. Anyway, there's this ghost story, sort of a ghost story about two guys on a canoe trip, and through like this particularly dangerous section of the Danube, way upstream. Oh, here's the stuff. We're going to get into the credits.
Mystery on the Air.
I want to make sure that we actually got permission to use the music for this.
Story by H.P. Lovecraft.
Howard Phillips himself.
Starring Tanya Milosevic as Helen. Jim Yunt as Phillips.
Yes.
Jeffrey Adams was Eric.
I did the grunting.
And Justin Kapla played Harry the engineer. Script, direction, and post-production by Jeffrey Adams. Some sound effects provided by the Free Sound Project at freesound.org. The music of Eric Zahn, that is, the violin piece heard in this episode, was composed by Alex Voitenko of the Ukraine. Violin solo performance by Scariest also of the Ukraine.
Yeah, that's the bit I wanted to get in, especially with everything that's happening in the Ukraine. The composer, and I'm not going to try and repeat his name just now. Oh, interesting. We got a bicycle and a motorized bicycle without a light going by here in International Falls. Anyway, what was I going to say? Actually, very generously gave us permission to use his music. He used the violin concerto. Sorry, I'm looking next door. We'll give you a play-by-play here, folks, that there is a behooded character who just got off his bicycle, and he is next door at the neighbor's house. And I don't know if the neighbor tried one of those take-one buckets for Halloween or not. We'll see if he comes over here, because our porch light is all lit and everything else. At any rate, maybe he's doing a prank. Anyway, I get so easily sidetracked on Halloween because I'm full of sugar, and I really shouldn't be at this stage of my life. Just wanted to thank the composer again for allowing us to use his music. If you look up Music of Eric Zahn on YouTube, there is that recording available. And it was very, very generous of him to let us use it so that there was a really beautiful, perfect piece of music. Very Lovecraftian, you know. This is how Lovecraft is. There's a whole. He always is building his horror out of things that we can't see, or things that we can't hear. This music will drive you mad if you listen to it, just like The Color Out of Space will drive you mad if you gaze upon it. And he falls back quite often on the trope of, boy, I'd love to describe this to you, but it's indescribable. That's probably why, excuse me, Lovecraft was never more terrifying than in The Rats in the Walls, which is a story about rats in the walls. Well, this has been a lot of fun, and I want to thank everyone who's listened, including James from New Jersey, who tuned in for a little bit, as well as some folks that were on at least for a short time from the Philippines. I was looking at our streaming station currently, Baldwin, Missouri. You're on the air. Thank you for listening. Boardman, Oregon, of course, and the person in Russia who's been listening for 4 days, obviously monitoring me for official communication. But there is, of all the plays we produced here at the Icebox Radio Theater, probably the one that I think receives the most, let's call it praise, as well as comments, that's done more for us over the years than anything else. Some of the wonderful people, so many wonderful people came to us after listening to this particular play on a rebroadcast from Dakota Ring Theater. Let's see where we're at here.
New audios.
Yeah, just the intro to this.
Suspense and terror.
Thought I'd close off this special Halloween
Icebox Radio
with at least the first few minutes of The Thing on the Ice from the IBRT.
You don't think to watch for weather when you ice fish.
Yeah, there we go.
That is, if you got a fish house.
It's true. That's still true.
Summertime on the lake, you keep one eye on the sky all the time. Thunderheads roll in, storms roll in.
I'll be back to say goodbye after we listen to some of this. Here's Thing on the Ice.
Water they write stories about pretty quick. But in the winter, she's got a cap of ice, 3 foot thick in some places. My name's Harry Pavlich. Lived up in the north my whole life. I know some folks think driving out on the ice is crazy, but they never been up here in January. You stay away from the currents, you stay out of the depths, you're all right. You can drive a truck or trailer, even bigger on some of these ice roads. Don't even need to know the lake that good. Most times you look out, you can see where the ice is safe. Cluster of fish houses out there, plowed roads from them back to the boat ramp on shore. It's easy enough to figure out where the ice is safe. They got regular little towns out there. That's never my thing, though. Lone wolf, I guess. Like to be on my own. Anyways, used to like it. Now, these days, I don't fish so much in the winter. Back in the day, I had a fish house, and I liked to tow it where nobody was. Tow it so I had to hike a quarter mile or more from shore just to get to it. Like that day. That day I headed out. Almost never came back. Ice fishing is not what you'd call fishing so much. It's not angling, that's what I mean. In a fish house, you got 1 or 2 holes, a heater, chair if you like it, or if it's big enough, maybe a couch. Maybe a table for playing cards if you're sociable. TV set if you've a mind to. Some guys, they buy houses now ready-made with satellite dishes, if you can believe that. And the basics, of course. Scoop for taking the ice shavings out of the hole, and an auger, and that's about it. Not much to it, really. If you're catching nothing, you can change bait or change setup, but that's about all you can do out on the ice. Not much point to it, I suppose. Suppose it's just to get away, off by yourself. You're like a little kid in a treehouse out there, your own little world. Your own little world. That day broke clear and cold, but up on top of it, a good old Alberta clipper was rolling in. I drove from my house to the shore and hiked from the shore to the fish house without so much as a glance up at the sky. Come on, not that cold out. Oh, but it was. It was that cold. Already the murk was dropping. If I'd bothered to install that weather doohickey I'd gotten for Christmas, I'd have known that. I'd have known the barometer was taking a plunge like it was off a cliff, and I'd have known there was a storm brewing out there. Instead, it all came on without warning.
Harry! Harry, you in there?
Well, not without warning.
Hello, Jim. Come in out of the cold.
Thanks, but I'm just checking. You know, there's a storm coming in.
Huh. I didn't notice.
They're saying maybe 12 inches by tomorrow morning. You better head for home, Harry.
Oh, I'll be fine. I turned the door of this place towards the woods. They won't bury me in.
Plenty of wind, too. Not going to be a nice night to spend on the lake.
You, ordering me in, Jim? I didn't think Rangers could do that unless it was an official evacuation.
Harry, I've known you 10 years. I don't have any authority over you. Not like I can make stick anyway. But I'm part of my job keeping people safe in the park. I wish you'd reconsider.
I'll tell you what. I'll keep an eye on things outside. If it looks bad, I'll clear out.
Okay, I'll check tomorrow morning, just in case.
Appreciate it.
And he closed the door. And I heard him walk away in the snow. And that was the last human contact I had until it was all over. They mean well, the park rangers, but, well, the whole point of being out on your own is to be on your own for a little while. I don't take to anybody playing nursemaid, especially if he's wearing a badge and looks like a TV sheriff. I mean, I like Jim. He's good at his job, and he don't look at fishermen as if they were ruining his lake, but I guess it was just habit. Man tells me to come in, I'll stay out, even if I was thinking about coming in. Yeah, it was a habit. I guess I first noticed something was different when I went to turn on the light. As I turned it on, I suddenly started wondering, what time was it? Looked at my watch, 3:30. Now, we're up north here, but we're not that north. Not so's a winter day is over in the middle of the afternoon. That's when I looked outside. Mother Mary. The sky in the northwest had turned black, and you'd think that sky of black was riding a wave of cotton. That's right, between the black of the clouds and the ground was a solid layer of white snow swirling and boiling and scouring the earth. It wasn't just a storm, it was a thing. I could hear it, I could even smell it. That gunmetal tang of ice on the wind. And in the wind, out in front of that whatever it was, all I had was a jacket and my old toque, and that wind stung my cheeks like needles, popped my head right off my head. The door of the fish house began to shimmy in the wind. It was going to be ripped right off its hinges if I didn't move, so I ran for the door without thinking and jumped inside, just to get the door closed, you understand. And that's when I figured I'd better be getting out of there. I mean, the ranger said storm, but I didn't think he meant that. But just as I was turning to take in the line and get my coat, it hit the house. Like a train it was. Like a friggin' train just slapped up the side of the house. I looked down at the fishing hole cut in the floor, and I realized it was sliding over my rod, right over it. That meant the whole house was being pushed along the ice. If I didn't do something, we were going to hit some bump or another and tip over. Maybe tip over on the door, trapping me inside. Without thinking, I grabbed my power auger from the corner. The wind had cooled just a piece, and the house weren't sliding anymore, so I shoved that auger right down into the hole, right into the hole of the floor, and let her go. It drilled down to the ice, 6 inches, a foot. I figured the ice was about 3 foot thick here, so I got down too, then I shut it off.
auger shoved 2 feet down into the ice, another 2 feet sticking up above the floor. When the wind picked up, that house started to slide till that hole hit the auger shaft, and then it just slid up there and sank. It wasn't going to do the auger any good, of course, but at least we wouldn't tip over. I stood there, right in the middle of the house for the longest time. I had to put some things back in their places, but I guess we weren't roughed up too bad. The worst part was that wind. It lay low a while, then ratcheted up again, sudden-like. When it hit the house, I could feel the whole thing move, just a little bit. I kept watching that auger to see if the shaft was going to bend. Presently, I got a grip on things. Felt my heart drop back after my chest. Okay. That was the worst part. Sitting in there, waiting for a gust to come up and take you out your seat. Like setting off firecrackers right next to my ear. Put me right on edge. I sat there listening to that wind. Got so I wasn't doing anything else, just listening more and more carefully, trying to get a step ahead of it so I'd be ready next time it hit. But it weren't possible. My nerves were all strung out. I went to the door to check the chances of getting out of there. And I got hit full in the face by a fistful of snow. It was carrying ice crystals like little knives and drove me back into the house. When I got my eyes open a crack, I peeked out at the view through the door. Couldn't tell if the house was facing shore or the lake or what. I pushed into the wind just enough to reach out and get that door so as I could close it. And that's when I heard the damnedest thing. That froze me in my tracks for a minute. Was that? Couldn't have been what it sounded like. But it sure as hell sounded like it. It sounded like a friggin' house cat. And for the moment I looked down, and there it was. A little black head sticking up out of the snow. It was a kitten. Okay, well, maybe not a kitten, but it weren't a very big cat. The snow was deep enough, it just kind of had to jump toward me, back legs to front, to move forward at all.
What the hell are you doing out here?
Now, I never been much of a cat lover. They're good for mice, and that's about all, but I wasn't about to let a thing that size freeze to death when it was asking for help. And think whatever you like, that's just what that cat was doing. One paw up over the snow, its ears back flat against its head. The light inside the house swung around a little bit and caught its eyes, green they were, and open wide, wind or no wind. It was staring at me, just a touch of pride left in its eyes. Mostly it was desperate.
Well, come on.
It froze, looked past me into the room, then back up at me.
I had no time for this animal.
Without a thought to claws or anything else, I took a couple of steps into the snow, picked up that animal by the scruff of the neck, and sort of gently tossed it inside. The cat landed on its feet, of course, and took just a second to look back at me. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I didn't laugh right then. It was the way he did it, I think. Looking back over his shoulder to hiss at me as if I weren't worth more of his time. Here we were, both trapped out on the lake, storm of the year bearing down on our heads, and that little animal took the time to give me an opinion of how he'd been handled. That cat was black, just a little wisp of a thing. When it turned and looked at me, I could see a spot of white right there in the middle of its chest. It settled into the middle of the fish house and looked up at me, just like a cat will sometimes, sitting on its haunches, just looking at you like nothing was wrong. And for a while I stood there just looking at that cat. I don't know how long. Eventually it occurred to me that its being here was crazy. Here was this storm. A storm that came in like a bat out of hell, and here I was nowhere near a house or a cabin or anything this cat might have started from. There weren't even a road nearby, some spot where a person could have tossed it out of the car. And besides, it didn't look any worse for wear. Not like it had been living in the woods for a while. It looked like it just wandered out of somebody's living room and up to my door. Even had a collar. A collar.
Hey, what you got there, fella?
I moved in close, and that cat just kept looking at me. Didn't even flinch. That was a collar, all right. Had a tag on it. Where I thought first must have been a license. Some towns will do that, you know. Try and license cats just to stick the taxes to you a little more. But it weren't no license. It was just a tag, like a necklace. A silver circle. Might have even been real silver, about the size and thickness of a dime. And in the middle of that circle, a black spot. Weren't raised at all either, just flat.
thought at first it might have been painted on. Looking closer, though, and I'll be damned if it wasn't a stone of some kind. A precious stone. A black stone. Sat in that disc like it was grown there. Looked like a hell of an expensive thing to put on a cat. The wind settled down a bit after a while. Or maybe I just got used to it. I don't know. I took a seat in the old camp chair I had there. It wasn't there a minute that cat didn't jump up on my lap. Not much of a cat person, like I said, but I didn't refuse the company then. And that cat, for its part, made itself right at home. So, we settled in. Me sitting, the animal running its motor, and the wind blowing. I got up just one time to look out the door. There was 8 inches up against the door by then. Storm had no sign of stopping, none at all. A storm like this could dump 2 feet at my door, which could make it interesting to get out. I like to keep my wits about me out there on the lake, but this was one time, don't ask me why, that it took all I had just to keep my mind from wandering off. It kept wandering, though, and I thought about being trapped out here. Trapped in my fish house. Ranger said he'd come back and check on me next morning, but where would that be on his list tomorrow? How many other things would they have to do? Lost skiers, tourists, rich folks who expect help, as opposed to me who usually resented it. I turned and looked at the cat. Why'd I say it like that? Resented it. I'm damned if that little animal looking up at me didn't calm the thumping in my chest right down to nothing. I laughed in spite of myself. That cat. That cat. I got some fish jerky from storage and plopped down in the chair again. The cat moved nimbly up onto the chair arm, then back into my lap once I was down. I fed it about a quarter of the jerky. Figured it had earned it. Took the rest for myself. Now I was hungry. And after that, I felt about ready to drop off. Even at that speed, the wind was kind of hypnotic. And with a full belly and that animal, a little purring furnace in my lap, I guess I kind of dozed. I woke up when the animal hissed. It was still on my lap, but it was one living nerve ending now. Ears back flat, hair at its back standing straight up, every muscle was clenched. And it was staring at it like it was just the gateway to hell itself. I was just about to pet the thing, try to calm it down, when I heard it. It was like a dog or an animal scratching at the door. That's what I figured the cat's problem was. It must have been a dog, right? I mean, if a cat could have gotten out here, why not a dog? So I was just about to get up, go over to the door and open it when... And that's what froze me right down to my toes. Was I still asleep? Had I only thought I heard the scratching? What was it that scratches like an animal but knows how to knock just like a man? Why did that animal in here hate it so much? I hadn't made a sound yet, so I figured the best thing to do was just sit there, keep quiet. But that knock, it sounded so human. What would knock like that? The cat had me spooked, thinking it had to be something else, but what if it were a man? He was out in that storm. He was looking for shelter. I had to at least check. So I got up out of that chair, and I took the 2 steps over to where the window was, right there next to the door. I heard what sounded like footsteps in the snow, and then something ran past the window and off into the storm. Ran right away from that door. And it was my turn for the hair to stand up on me, because I swear that whatever it was ran away from the door was running on 4 legs.
That was was a little bit of The Thing on the Ice from the Icebox Radio Theater. Most polls indicate that is the best play we've ever produced, and I tend to agree. Whole lot of fun doing that. Dave Irwin and I did all the voices together. I played the kitty. And we did a lot of the recording, especially the parts where it was his and I over in Fort Francis, Ontario, in his backyard where his trailer, Rosie, stood in for the fish house. I had a good time using their doors and everything else, and also rattling things around that I then mixed together into the sound of a windstorm, or the storm of the century, hitting a fish house alone on a frozen lake in northern Minnesota. Well, this has been fun. This has been, been on the air for about 2 hours. It seems like enough. I've scratched the itch. It is Halloween. It is the season of audio drama. Excuse me. Yesterday was International Audio Drama Day in celebration of the anniversary of the War of the Worlds broadcast in 1938. And I just thought it would be fun to come on and talk to you folks live, and also do a little bit of how to say this? A little sample of various shows, including ours, and some of the best of old-time radio. The programs you heard that were from old-time radio, Val Trieste from Lights Out, also part of The Hitchhiker from Suspense. Didn't do War of the Worlds, although I might turn around and listen to it tonight, because I know my good friend Justin Kampla, that is a Saturday, or excuse me, a Halloween tradition of his, and that sounds like an awful lot of fun. Sophie the cat has joined me here on the front porch. I think the trick-or-treaters have pretty much petered out, which means I have a lot of Snickers and M&Ms to deal with. Why did I not buy Reese's? Oh, I know why, because I would have inhaled those. Whatever the case, if you'd like to hear any of the Icebox Radio Theater shows that you heard, with the exception of The Mystery of Eric Zahn, all of them are part of the Frozen Frights podcast. And The Mystery of Eric Zahn is part of the Mystery on the Air podcast. Just go to iceboxradio.org, click on the podcast link along the top, and you will be able to look at both of those podcasts and check out some of the great shows. I recommend Thing on the Ice and The Diary, and of course all the latest stuff, including The Boiler Trap, which is the show that just came out last Thursday with Shannon Custer. We're very, very proud of. iceboxradio51@gmail.com is our email address. Again, iceboxradio.org is our website. Gosh, I do love being able to broadcast live, because it's 2022, and all I need is a computer and a mixing board and you, the faithful listener. Check us out again. Oh, and search for Victor's Reality on YouTube. Victor does a lot of stuff, but one of the projects he likes to do is setting our stories to video, animated GIF, I suppose, animated GIF backgrounds, and they're really quite beautiful. And he's done The Music of Eric Zahn, I believe, as well as Snow Day and a few others. So just search for that on YouTube. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening. Happy Halloween, everyone.